And little did I know that that really wasn't my passion. I was just doing what I was told. And I ended up flunking out of college after my 7th semester. So I was like almost there and I flunked out because my heart wasn't into it. And I'm like, what am I going to do now? I'm not going to be an engineer. What am I going to do? So what I decided was just start working. I toned up on my skills and I just spent the last 20 years working on, career, making more money and more money. But the more money I made, the more broke I was. In one of my careers, I was a business consultant. And I said, well, why don't I just start my own business, since I've helped a lot of people start their business, but I didn't know in what. So because I got to the age of 45 with no retirement account, no savings, I was broke. I made a lot of money, but I was still broke. And so what I decided to do was just start looking into what kind of business I wanted to start. And thanks to my sister, she wanted to start doing real estate investing. And I said, okay, well, let me see what that's all about. And 4 years ago, I found myself diving in and starting to do real estate. I am now on my 6th deal, and I am a bank on a property. I have tax liens across the state, and my life has never been the same. I spend more time with my kids. I miss my son growing up from the age of 0 to 9 because I was always working. And now I get to spend time with him and go on trips. And, it's just a lot of fun. And I'm just enjoying every minute of the way.
Well, that's awesome. I'm sure there's a lot of people on today that can resonate with your story as far as, brought up to go, go to school, get good grades, do the American dream quote type thing, and find themselves in the same position that you found yourself in. And so how did you find our community? How did you get connected to our community, and why, what was so enticing, or what really helped you make a decision to I want to be a part of this community?
My sister found a roadside sign that said, real estate investor, want to learn how. And she was talking about velocity banking to my mom. And I was like, what is that all about? And where did you learn it? And then she's like, well, with this real estate group. And again, I never thought about real estate, but I said, well, let me go see what this is all about. She had been talking about real estate, and I had money set aside from a sale of a condo that I had just done. And I'm like, well, I'll just invest with you. You invest my money and I'll just keep working. But when I saw the community, the support, the millions of not millions, but the resources, people wanting to help you out, grow your business. And it wasn't competitive, it was collaborative. I've never seen that. And so I was like, wow, does these people really exist? And so that's why I was driven to it, because I knew that I wasn't going to be by myself. I'm in business for myself, but I'm not by myself.
That is a great line. Can you repeat that again?
So I'm in business for myself, but I'm not in business by myself.
That is so powerful. That is so powerful. I'm so glad you made that comment, or actually stated that, because that is so true. And so you got a part of this group, you got connected, and that's been how many years ago now?
It'll be 4 years next month.
4 years next month. That's awesome. And so you've done a few deals now. You said like 6 deals. You're also like being the bank on another transaction or another property. You've got tax liens in place. That's awesome. So we've got this property today that you're going to share with us, and this is a flip that you're involved in. So how did you, a lot of times people, especially in today's environment, or in today's real estate environment, you hear a lot of people talking about oh, they can't find any good deals at all. There's no good deals out there because quote, we're still very heavily in a seller's market. So, the deals people find are just priced through the roof and they're not a good deal because as we all know that are part of this community and that we do real estate is that this business is all about the numbers. And if the numbers don't work, the deal doesn't work. So how did you go about finding this deal and talk a little bit about that?
So I was still working full-time when I acquired this property. Since then, I did resign from my position, but because I didn't have time to go out knocking doors and stuff, I did come across a wholesaler that had this house under contract. But so what I ended up doing with him is I negotiated with him and I said, if you go back for me, I'll buy this contract for you. I use my negotiation skills and I'm like, can you go back to the homeowners and, get me $20,000 more off this house? It's distressed. It's got a lot of work. And I go, if you want to share my numbers with her, here's my numbers and tell her why, she should reduce the price for another 20,000. And he did, and he showed her my numbers and why she should give me the house for another $20,000 less. And that's how I acquired it. But, I looked at like probably 20 deals from this wholesaler before I picked this one, because that's where the numbers.
Yes, that's right. So that's really cool that you went through that whole process that you did on this particular property. And that is that you looked at this deal, you looked at several deals from this wholesaler, but found this deal that obviously had some interest for you, but the numbers weren't quite right. To your numbers, you said they were about 20,000 off. So you didn't just go back and just throw a number at them. You actually provided why the numbers wouldn't work. How did you figure that out? Where along the process did you learn that, come up with your numbers, show why what the seller was requesting wasn't going to work and why you needed an additional $20,000 lower as an acquisition price to make the deal work?
Well, I always bring my construction foreman with me to every deal. So I do have a construction background a little bit because I worked for the city helping construction companies, but
awesome.
I always bring him with me and he gives me an idea of the total costs. And, some of these houses are pretty old in Denver. And, it's like, well, this is plaster and we're probably gonna have to replace it with sheetrock. And market analysis, what are the comparables in this area? What can I sell this for after I repair it and all the repair? And then I came down with my price. So.
Awesome. So found this deal through a wholesaler. You got the property under contract. Okay. Now this property you're going to show us, you're actually on site today too, right? You're there at the property?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. And this is a flip, right? And you're going to share some slides here in a little while and then show some numbers toward the end because people always love to see the numbers. So you put this property under contract. And, one of the other things, Diana, because I'm sure you're very similar to me, I love what I do. So no matter where I'm at, where I'm traveling, whether I'm going to the grocery store, whether I'm at the post office, wherever, I'm always sharing with people what I do. Matter of fact, a lot of times just starting conversations, people ask me what I do. And so I love sharing what I do. And one of the things I hear on a regular basis is I've always wanted to be a real estate investor. I love that. Whether they saw reality shows, whether they heard other people that have done it or are doing it, that they make that comment. But a lot of times people say, if I could just find money, I don't have any money. Okay. I have no credit. I have no money. If I could just find money, I could do real estate deals. And, you and I have talked a little bit. And one of the things that I work on and I do on a regular basis is I use OPM. I use private money, and that's other people's money. And so you can talk a little bit about that as far as with the community, because remember, we've got a lot of folks on today that are guests that are just trying to figure this all out. They're trying to see, is this a community I want to connect with? Are the resources there? They're trying to learn more about this business. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so for this deal, I used a combination of funds. I did find a really good lender, non-traditional lender for flips, and the remaining balance for what we refer to as the gap, which is the down payment and the holding costs, I use private investors. I want to say some of that private money came from my personal friends because they saw what I was doing and they said, oh, we want to invest with you because we want to have our money grow, but we don't want to learn what you want to do, what you're doing. We just want to grow our money. But that's conversations we've had over the months of what the value is in private lending and all of that stuff. It wasn't like a one day kind of thing. It's building those relationships with those people who have money but don't have time, right? Who want to be just silent investors. And so just having conversations and networking with people, I was able to raise the funds, all 100% of the deal with no money of my own.
That's awesome. So on this particular deal, no money of your own. You got a combination of a non-traditional lender and then private lenders. And so you put this deal together. So why don't we go ahead? It's about 20 after the hour, and we've got a few questions coming in that I'll ask you here shortly. But do you want to take us through the property? How are you going to show us the property today?
So I'm going to switch off to my phone, and so I can show you the property. I'm going to stop the video here.
That's fine.
Hi, I went to chat myself. Okay, can you see me?
Not yet. We can't see your screen yet. Turn your video on.
My video is on.
Okay, now we're on. You're good.
Can you see? Hold on, let me see. Here we go. Can you see me now?
We can see you and hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep. Okay. So I'm going to turn my camera around. I'm in the kitchen. I'm going to start at the beginning of the house. So this right here, as you can see, is the living area. That's the front door. This whole area right here was all open. It was a big, huge open space. It wasn't drywalled. It actually had big holes right here. This was an addition to the house that was made sometime after the house was built. So they left the original openings of the original windows on those walls. So we closed them up and we created a second bedroom because this is a 1 bedroom, 1 bath. When I bought it, we created a second bedroom right here in this big empty space. So here's the closet. And as you can see, it has windows. So then you walk into the big open space kitchen living room concept. There was a wall that went across where the island starts, and right here where you see the gap, there was a doorway. And this was the little eating area. That was the kitchen. There was a huge, ugly fireplace right in the middle. And then this was the living room. So by removing the chimney, we were able to then create this open space concept. Because it only has 1 bathroom and we needed an access for the second bedroom to have access to the bathroom, we also added a door here because this was all closed up. And all this, like all the drywall in the ceiling It's all new because it was the old way they used to do houses, plaster with little tiny wood boards behind the plaster. And it just didn't make sense to keep that finish. So we added all new sheetrock. So this is the master, quote unquote, master bedroom. This is the original bedroom that was here when we bought the house. This is the closet in here. The closet went all the way through where you saw that opening door, but because we needed to create the door, we did have to shorten that closet. And then this is the bathroom. We completely gutted out the bathroom and took out the tub, put a new shower, custom shower. It is a small bathroom, so we went with a shower rather than a tub because of where this door is going to be. There was no way a tub would fit. And then you walk out. This is the door that walks you out of the bathroom. Here's the kitchen. We replaced all new appliances. All of this is brand new too, as well. Granite countertops, slide-in stove, double door refrigerator. Very spacious. And new dishwasher, new sink. And so this is the mudroom. There was a wall right here. The doorway was right in the middle. So what we ended up doing was throwing down the wall that was right here to open it up again. We had custom railing done. And it goes down into a basement. I'm gonna quickly show you the backyard. Well, they locked it, okay. It opens up into a huge backyard. As you can see, there's a lot of snow and it's shining kind of bad, but it's got a 1-car garage. It's got a canopy there for people to enjoy. It's got a fire pit right over there so you can roast marshmallows. And then you go down to the basement. We put in brand new oak wood hardwood floors. And as I go down to we added this railing. All these stairs are brand new. The basement here has a washer and dryer. Washer and dryer, new sump pump, tankless water heater. So we got rid of the big old gas water heater that was sitting right here. This is part of the old chimney. And we put a tankless water heater in here. And then we just left the basement kind of open for them to do whatever they want to do. There's more storage in that little room in here. We didn't do anything with this room, but they're more than welcome to do whatever they need to do, whoever decides to buy this house. So that's just, it's a small house. It's about 1,000 square feet or so. But most houses in the Denver area in this neighborhood are about this size. So that's where I am right now. And right now, when I go back to my computer, I'll show you what it used to look like. Any questions?
Well, no, that's fantastic. So we had great video and great audio as you walked around the property. So you added a lot of value to this small little house. I don't know if you call these bungalows there in Colorado. I don't know what you refer to. Yeah, it's a small bungalow, but you added a lot of value by adding the additional bedroom, by opening up the kitchen with a large living area, dining area / because as we all know, most people spend the majority of their time in the kitchen or around the kitchen. So beautiful, beautiful cabinets, beautiful granite. That looks like granite.
Yes.
All new appliances, beautiful. Did you have to refer like a new floor, or did you refurbish it, or tell us a little bit about the floor?
So it did have hardwood floors when we bought it, but they were so worn out and there was no way to make them look good. So we did tear out the entire floor and put brand new oak hardwood flooring.
Awesome. Yeah, it's beautiful. I love the color combination, love the dark hand railing. So again, you added a lot of value to this. So as an investor, we're looking to buy properties that we can buy at a discount so we can add value as you've done. And you'll talk a little bit about your rehab budget here, your repair budget, that is. And so you added a lot of value so you could get a much better ARV, or after repair value.
Right.
Yeah, again, it's beautiful. I love your color combinations. I love that gray. I use that gray a lot in my properties on the walls. And so while you're gonna go ahead and switch over to your computer so we can show some pictures of what it looked like before, and we can kind of get to the numbers while you're doing that. Let me see if there's any questions here that I can look at. Says, how many square feet and how do you assign cost to the property? So I think, Blessing, you're asking, first of all, how many square feet is this, Diana?
It's like 1098.
So right at 1,100 square feet. And you said that's pretty common in that area, the smaller type houses?
Oh yeah, this neighborhood is full of, I call it tiny homes.
So it's about 1,100 square feet. And so this is a great question. So how did you come up? I know you mentioned earlier that you bring your contractor with you when you walk properties, when you're working your numbers. So you were able to, with the combination, using your contractor and some of your experience, come up with a rehab budget, correct? Is that what you said?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so you were able to come up with your rehab budget. So you were able to acquire the property $20,000 less than what the seller was asking for, because the numbers didn't work at what they were asking for, okay, or what they were requesting. So you're able to negotiate. You're able to acquire the property at that price, which we'll go over the numbers here shortly. You were able to determine your rehab budget. Now, how did you come up with your numbers about where you were going to sell the property for? How did you come up with those?
Well, I did a market analysis and also comparables of what has sold in this area, around this area, within half a mile within the last 3 months or so. Because houses go for sale and are snapped off right away here in Denver. You can't go back 6 months because it's cuckoo berries here. And so 3 months is what I do. What I did for this area, where I came up with my after repair value.
So you looked at a small surrounding area. You didn't go too far out. You don't want to look 5 miles, 10 miles away from that property. You look at a close proximity of that area. I like to use a quarter mile if it's possible. Then if I have to bump it out to half a mile, I do. It's also important to understand the market, like the community where you're at, because sometimes one community can be right next to another community, and you could be fairly close to the other community, but maybe that other community is either higher or lower in after repair value. So you determined all that. Yeah. So you determined all that. And that's how you came up with your after repair value.
Right. So this property is north of a major highway. And it's right also by a university. South of the highway, the houses are a lot more expensive. And, just to buy a house there, you're looking at $800,000. And that's not even before putting money into it, and they can go for over $1 million. On the other side of the highway, they don't cost $800,000. So you can't use those comparables to compare, even though they're just across the highway. Even that, even that is a determinant. So, you got to make sure each neighborhood is different. And so you got to stay within that neighborhood most of the time. You can go, like I did go east a little bit and a little bit west, but I try to stay within I-70, the highway I-70 north, and I didn't bother to compare anything south. So.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. And I know you're pulling up your computer here, and let's share that here in a second. We'll get one more question in, and then we'll get back to some questions in a little bit. But someone asked, I think it was Devin, it was a really good question about how you pay your contractor. And obviously there's a lot of different ways, he was asking about, do you pay your contractor during the rehab? Do you pay the contractor at the sale of the property? And so in this particular situation, you're using a contractor you've used before. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So talk a little bit about that. So how did you work that out with your contractor?
Well, I married one. I'm married to my
okay, that's a great detail to share. And
but I will let you know that he does not go easy on me. Because he's had his business for a long time, and he's like, this is what I charge you. If you don't like my prices, go find somebody else. But he does great quality work. But in this particular one, however, the wholesaler that I bought the property from is also a fix and flipper. And he lent me his construction crew. So all I had to pay was the materials myself, and then he would just charge me for their labor. He didn't charge me, he's like, I'm not going to make any money on this, but you can use my guys because I know your husband. And my husband was busy doing another flip of mine when we got this one. And because of the timeline I was on, I needed this one done sooner. So I did use, his name is Paul. I used his contractors, and they were very efficient. They knew what they needed to do. I only paid for the materials. So they would go to Home Depot, do a phone sale, buy the stuff. One of the things that I love is, it's like it was all done through the app, and I could see what they were buying to make sure they were not, buying stuff they were not supposed to. And then I would just pay them for their time.
Yeah.
So I saved that was a great concept that I didn't know about that I could have done. That's something new that I learned from Paul. And that's how I'm doing it with my husband now. I'm like, how much are you going to charge me for your time? And I'll buy all the material, because I can go find the material at discounted prices because I have the time to do that, and he doesn't have the time to do that. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what I do as well. I supply all the material for my teams at all my flips and my renovations. And so, because if you've got your actual contractors going out and inquiring the materials, they're going to mark those materials up, and
Right.
for their time and all that. So, well, that's awesome. So you've got a by meeting this wholesaler, and you said you'd actually looked at like 20 different deals. So you kind of got to know this wholesaler. Okay. And sometimes it takes that. I mean, one of the really cool things that one of my mentors in this community told me way back when I first got started with this group, he told me, and I've heard it several times since then, that Diana, and I'm sure you can relate to this, is he said, be in a hurry to analyze your first 100 deals. Take your time doing your first deal.
Right.
And that stuck with me in the very beginning of how important it was to keep looking and analyzing deals until you found one where the numbers worked. And so in this particular situation, through your wholesaler, you were able, because that wholesaler also did some flips, and he had some folks that he was able to provide to you, that you were able to pay them for the labor. So why don't you go ahead and why don't you pull up your computer, because we definitely don't want to run out of time. I know you've got a lot to still share here. So if you want to share, change your screens, you can go ahead.
Let me go ahead and turn this one off.
And we'll still get to a few of these, more of these questions here in just a second here.
Over here? Okay. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We see your picture right now, so we're just waiting for your screen to come up.
Yeah, I went too far ahead. Okay, there we go. This one. Okay, are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, we are.
Okay,
Yes, we can. I mean, thank you.
okay. So here's the address of the house. We purchased this house at $465,000. That includes the wholesale fee. The wholesale fee was 15,000. 1 bedroom, 1 bath. So the actual purchase price of the house was for what I financed was 450,000. Now the owner of this property wanted 495 when it first.
You might need to turn your phone off or something. You got reverberation there.
Okay, how's that?
Yeah, we can hear you good now.
Okay, I think I accidentally pressed the microphone. So 465 was a purchase price, which I said includes the wholesale fee. She wanted 495 when the wholesaler first started negotiating with her. He got her down to 470, and then she came down another 20,000. So I purchased it for 450,000. The estimated.
Diana, we
Yes.
might have some folks. We might have some folks that fell out of their chairs when you talked about the pricing here for a 1 bed, 1 bath for $465,000. So, guys, it is so amazing how much markets change around our country. And a property like that you showed me, and I didn't. We're going to see the before pictures. But that property there in this market, buying that, acquiring that, would not be bought any more than $60,000 to $70,000 in our market. So it's amazing that I hear people talking about all the time about how Denver's market is so high. Yeah, I mean we had a few comments on there about the price. It was like, wow. So yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's just, I had to insert that. Go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, it's cuckoo berries here, right? But for this area, that's actually kind of cheap. And, so that's why I jumped on it, because, it was, it was gonna be worth it. So, okay, so this is the front of the house. This is how it looked like in the summer, and pretty grass and everything. This was that front room that I showed you. So this is what we created into that second bedroom. But this is what the front room used to look like. It just had plywood on the bottom. It didn't even have a floor. It was just plywood. All of this wood was not really insulated, so we just covered it up with drywall. Here you can kind of see that there's an opening in the bedroom. It had this screen door. I guess the lady used to have a lot of cats, and this is where the cats lived. And she had a screen door for the cats not to go over to the main house. This is the living room. Here's the chimney. So this is what the living room used to look like. These floors were really worn out. They were not salvageable. So that's why we replaced them. Here's the kitchen. Here's the entryway that I mentioned earlier. So we brought down this whole wall and took out the ceiling. We replaced the ceiling. So all of this came down. We threw down the chimney as well. We had to do seal. So we brought it down from the roof as well. So I did have to get a roofer to repair that and patch it back up. So again, I mean, look at this dingy, ugly fireplace. We were first going to keep it, but then it didn't make sense to keep it. So we just got rid of it. This is the eating area. So when I was walking through, you saw cabinets underneath the window because it is a small house and people love storage in small houses. We did put what we call cabinet uppers as storage here. And I forgot to mention, the island can actually sit 6 people. So it kind of replaces the dining room table. So you have extra space for everything else. Again, picture of the kitchen. Here's the entrance to the mudroom. So we got rid of this wall up here. We got rid of all this wall to open it up to go into the basement. Oh, let me go. This is the mudroom, what it used to look like. And so we removed this ugly white wall and put that custom railing. Here's that first bedroom. Notice that it does have that opening that I was talking about. And it had like a chicken wire mesh. It was like really weird. So we closed that off. And this is what the bathroom used to look like. So over here is where we opened it to create that extra door for the second, you know, so that they don't have to go, so guests don't have to go through the bedroom to go to the bathroom, and the person living in the second bedroom doesn't have to do that either. Okay, so the next is the numbers. You guys ready for the numbers?
So now let me add a couple things here. Now that you showed the beforehand pictures, you have added a ton of value to this property. I mean, it wasn't like completely destroyed or in bad shape. It was, you know, it was livable, very much livable in the position or the state that it was in. But what you've done to this by opening up the larger kitchen, you know, making a dedicated bedroom up front, you know, opening that bathroom up the way you did, obviously going with that really cool little walk-in shower. You've added so much. And then the hand railing, by taking that mudroom wall down and adding that open custom handrail, that made it look, it opened the whole thing up. It just looked, you know, you still, at the end of the day, you still have 1,100 square foot. You didn't add an addition. You kept the same square footage, but now the house, I don't want to say it looks twice as big, but it definitely looks a lot larger than these previous pictures. So that is awesome. That is really cool. And again, I love what you've done with the property. So there was a couple other questions before we jump to the numbers I do want to get into here or just ask. Let me scroll up here really quick here. How long did you, because you know, that's a large part of doing real estate investing, like when you're doing a flip or a small renovation or a full rehab, is looking at your time and your schedule. What did you budget on this for time?
6 months. But the actual construction of it only took about 7 weeks. But the thing is that, again, because my husband was busy and the other gentleman was busy, but the other gentleman was going to be available faster than my husband, there was a little bit of a waiting period. So we were demoing. The demo was, you know, was like at a slow process because the contractor couldn't come in here. You know, so when I purchased it to when construction started, it was 4 weeks. So the house was sitting kind of like being demolished for a full month until the contractor came in here. And, you know, when he came in here, it took him 7 weeks to do. And there was changes, you know, I wasn't planning on redoing the roof and the ceiling. So that added a little more time because I said, you know what, the ceiling is looks kind of caved in. Let's just tear it up and put a new ceiling. And what else? Oh, and then the fireplace, we were gonna first keep it and then we decided not to keep it. So, you know, just tiny little changes here and there that added a little more to the timeline. So, but it took approximately 7 weeks to finish it off.
Well, that's great. That's fantastic. So we had a really good question earlier on that I want to get to before you start talking about the numbers. It'll tie back into what the numbers here. So, you know, you talked about not using cash to acquire this property, and you used a combination of funding. You used a non-traditional lender, When you say non-traditional, what you're referring to is it's not your traditional bank. It's not like a Chase Bank or Wells Fargo or any of those. This is a non-traditional mortgage company. And then you also tied in some private funds on that. So how did you learn how to raise that, or how did you figure out how to raise that money and determine how to do that?
Well, I got educated. I got educated, learning tips and tricks from the experts. People have done this for, years, and networking and talking to people and just making them see the value of why investing in real estate will bring them more return on their money than, say, like the stock market or or Bitcoin or whatever. I don't know much about Bitcoin, but I'm just throwing it out there because that's what I've been seeing on the news lately. But just I got myself educated on how to negotiate, on how to raise that money, how to analyze the different types of money and which would benefit my deal more. So on all my flips, I have not used the same lender all the time. So far, I've used 3 different lenders because each property has a different story and it requires a separate lender sometimes. So, and different.
That's awesome. So by connecting with the community, being a part of our national community of investors, and you're learning the same stuff I'm learning. Okay, we've got mentors and educators and facilitators that are experts at what they do, and that, again, I mentioned earlier on, if folks have jumped on since we started, being a part of this community now for a little over 6 years, and being a part of this platform of education and collaboration amongst us team members has really helped me learn all about what you've just talked about. And so by using different forms of funding, I'm sure you had money cost involved. So you probably want to talk a little bit about the numbers. I know you had a screen you want to pull up here. So I know a lot of people, again, are still shocked. I saw a lot of comments about the acquisition price, about $495 to start, $465. Again, great comment from Will. It's so important to know your market. And, even in a hot market like Denver, even in a market where 1,100 square foot, 1 bed, 1 bath can sell for $465 or ask $495, you can still do deals in markets like that. So you're about to show us numbers. So if you want to go ahead, that'd be great.
Okay. I was the same way. I was like, oh, this market is too hot. People want so much money for their house. But, really learning the art of negotiating was key here. So, okay. So as you can see, $465 was the purchase price. The total interest for the 6 months that I've held the house is going to be so far $31,000. Construction was 50. I would say it was more like 47,900, right around there. I haven't finished adding up all the receipts to get the exact number, so I just rounded it up to 50. Holding costs, this is water, electricity, taxes for 6 months. The thing here, the properties are really expensive in Denver, but property taxes, believe it or not, are kind of very low. So the property taxes for this house for a whole year is like $1,500.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's, woo.
Yeah. I mean, property taxes for the price of the house, property taxes are nothing. So we're estimating around $26,000 for the selling. That's through, we do have a deal with a real estate agent that, cut us a deal on or what they're going to charge us for selling the house. So that's around $26,000. So that's a total cost of $109,000. So 109 is all of these added together, 31 plus 50 plus 2,400 plus 26 is 109. The after repair value in this area for this type of house and this type of, features and everything like that is about $600,000. So just last month, there was a house 4 blocks down that sold for 650. So I'm being very conservative with 605. We actually put it on the market for 595 because people are kind of like paying more than the asking. So we're playing the market game where we lower the price for a little bit because we know they're gonna come over here and meet the 605.
So your anticipated sale on this will be at 605. So you're looking at your potential profits of around 30,582.
Yes.
That is amazing, Diana. That is amazing. So you've got your construction costs. You budgeted it at a certain price, so you kind of bumped it up a little bit to cover any last minute costs. You're covering your holding costs, which is fantastic. And then of course you've got your selling costs working through your realtor. You're going to have closing costs on your end as a seller, and that is just a really cool story there. But you're saying you did a budget of this though for 6 months, and even though are you gonna meet that timeline? Okay.
We are in month 5 and the house is already on the market. We've had a few showings and stuff. The real estate agent is expecting some offers to come in this week because he did get some feedback that some people are working on their financing and will be submitting their offers to us. But it did go on the market this week. So
that is fantastic. That is fantastic, Diana. So again, great job today. I'm so glad you were able to share your deal, your current deal right now. This has been a really neat property tour. We talked earlier, I was on one of your property tours in the summertime. That was pretty cool that you did deal with your sister. And and I believe for the most part, we've answered most of the questions in here. There've been some really one. Kate asked about the comps at time of purchase. So she looked at those comps and that's why she was able to determine that the property would sell in that 605 range. And now when you're doing a deal, Diana, how often do you look and re-look at what the comps are? So like you start a project day one and you're planning on selling it in 5 or 6 months. Do you reevaluate your comps prior to putting it on the market?
Oh, I'm watching the market like every other week. I'm just like, okay,
Exactly.
what is going on now? What is going on now? And I built a really good relationship with the wholesaler that, he's been doing this for about 30 years in Denver, and he's the one who's really, he submits 30 deals a day. So he's, constantly analyzing the market. And, I go to him at times and say, okay, this is what I'm finding. Is this what you're finding? And he's like, yep, that's about what I'm finding. Or he'll be like, no, you're too low. I don't know why you're going so low. I'm like, well, I can't find anything that might be higher. And so we play off of each other with that. And then also, again, now that I do this full time, I have a lot more time to do more market analysis. I have another house going on the market on Monday. And again, constantly looking at what price point. I always do the lower price point because I know that here in Denver, people do bid higher. It's just that it's a trend that's been going on for a couple of years, and it's still happening because there's a shortage of homes here in Denver. And with the unfortunate fire that happened up north in Superior, there's a lot of displaced families who'll probably be like, you know what, we're just going to move back to the city. So.
Right. Yeah. I followed that a little bit in the news. That was that was just terrible what happened up there. I didn't mention earlier, I didn't say anything earlier, but congratulations on leaving your W-2 job. You said you were able to leave your corporate America or your W-2 job. I mean, was that one of your plans when you started out getting into investing, was to be, step away from that job and working for somebody else and just doing your own thing?
Yes, I didn't, I wanted it done sooner, but now, things happen for a reason. And I just took the plunge. I looked at my projected sales from all these flips. Like I said, this one is our second flip in Denver. We have one going to the market next week, and I currently have two under construction. So a W-2 job just didn't allow me to really focus and make sure that I was going the right way. So I just decided to quit. And because my husband's my contractor, the lender also lends me the money for the construction. So, all of that, I pay him with the money that I get. So, so we have income coming both ways.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're getting toward the top of the hour, Diana, and I'd love for you, again, when we started out today, I mentioned we're going to have a lot of folks on maybe for the first time, or maybe that are just joined our community and are part of our national community of investors that are looking to get into their first deal. What kind of advice would you give, or maybe a couple of golden nuggets you would like to give away here at the end about, just something you could share that's really helped you or impacted you?
Most importantly is making sure that I'm getting myself educated and not making decisions without thoroughly knowing what I'm doing, and relying on, people that have been doing this for a lot longer than I have, and getting their feedback and their point of view, because they might be seeing something that I'm not seeing. And just being coachable, just staying open to, we don't know it all. And so as long as we don't know it all, our mind opens up to being able to take in more knowledge. And just, I've realized that the more I know, the more secure I feel. I mean, real estate is risky, but being educated helps lower that risk, because you can learn from others and make sure you don't make the mistakes that others have made.
That is great golden nuggets you've thrown out there, Dinah. Thank you very, very much. Again, can't wait to get you out again on your next deal. We've had a lot of great questions today, a lot of compliments. A lot of people love your project there. Fantastic. Again, guys, for everybody that's on today, we do these every Saturday morning. We feature one of our investors from our community, as we are a national community investor. So we bounced around all over the United States. So this Saturday, we were with Diana in Colorado. And then next Saturday, we're going to be in Rhode Island. We've never featured one of our investors in Rhode Island. So this is going to be cool. It's going to be the same time at 11 a.m. So, come back out, get back to whoever invited you out, and they can connect you with other events and other things going on, both, locally and in the larger markets, but also on Zoom too. So again, Diana, thank you very much. You did a great job. Love what you're doing. And this is really cool that you were able to share this. I think this helps a lot of people, with their decision making and kind of what their plans are and what they're trying to get done. So for everybody else on today, thank you very much for taking an hour out of your day. Please join us next Saturday. Bring a friend, bring a guest, anyone that would like to learn more about real estate investing and being a part of a community like Diana's discussed today. We'd love to have you out again. So thank you, Diana. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. It was an honor. Thank you so much. I am completely grateful for every one of you. And I hope that if you really want to do this, and you just take the plunge, just do it. This is, this is a good way to start. So.
Thanks, Diana. Take care. Goodbye, everybody.